In self-improvement, there is one factor that is most underrated and often completely overlooked and can make a huge difference to how quickly you make progress. Today, we're going to look at what it is. And to explain it, let me start with a metaphor. Let's say what you want to improve is your running speed. Imagine this, you want to run faster. Now, there's lots of stuff you can add and improve to run faster. You can train the muscles in your legs. You can learn running technique. You can wear better running shoes. And all of these things will make you run faster. But what most people overlook is that there's another factor, which is remove the weights that are attached to your ankles that are dragging you down, slowing you down. Once you get rid of that dead weight, you immediately run so much faster. This applies to self-development. There's stuff you can do, skills to learn, things to get better at that will help you make more progress. But often, an even more effective way to make more progress is to look at, hold on, am I dragging weight around with me? What are the obstacles? What stuff is slowing me down and holding me back? And get rid of that first. This here is the second part in my series on what I call trust the process. In the first part, I talked about the cornerstone habits, the things that I know will reliably put me in a better mood, lift my state, energize me, and also move me towards my goals. In this part, let's talk about that other side, about removing the things that do the opposite of all that. I call these things siren song habits because just like the mythological creature, they are tempting, they are alluring. The siren song draws us in, but when we give into it, we end up getting drowned in misery. To make this practical, let's look at an example. What is an example of a siren song habit? Here's one from my life that might seem a little weird. Cereal.
Yeah, breakfast cereal. This kind of stuff.
I have to confess, cereal is very appealing to me. It tempts me for sure. Maybe it's because of nostalgia, childhood memories. Maybe it's because it's just, crunchy and delicious and sweet. Maybe it's also because it's so convenient. But whatever the reason, when I have cereal, I know that two things will happen.
One, as soon as I finish a bowl of cereal, all I want is another bowl of cereal.
Number two, it makes me feel awful. Cereal makes me feel sluggish and tired and low energy. And also it gives me stomach cramps. I do not feel physically good after I eat a bowl or several bowls of cereal. And yet, despite all that, I still crave it. So that's an example of a siren song habit. Here's another one that I'm pretty sure applies to you as well. Late night content. I know sometimes you really don't want to go to sleep and you stay up and you scroll or you watch YouTube videos or Netflix or whatever, and you end up doing that until late into the night. It's really tempting, especially if you're not looking forward to getting up the next morning and maybe you have to go work or study or something that you don't find appealing. But staying up late always leads to a worse night of sleep. It kind of knocks your day-night cycle out of balance, and then the next day you feel super tired, and then maybe you overcompensate with coffee and then you can't sleep the next night. It could ruin several days in a row doing this once. And hey, why not combine it with another siren song habit? Why not binge content late at night while eating junk food or cereal? For me, this makes it even worse because eating late also disturbs my sleep, and it's basically a guaranteed way for me to nuke my whole week. And of course, if the next day I feel tired and sluggish and low mood and I don't get anything done and I feel frustrated, what happens in the evening? I crave exactly the kind of stuff that makes it worse. I want to eat some cereal to make myself feel better with a sugar rush. I want to distract myself with YouTube and so on. So it becomes a vicious cycle. So you get the idea. In the last video, we talked about cornerstone habits, things that reliably put you on track, things that reliably make you feel better and move your life in a desirable direction. And siren song habits are just the exact opposite of that. It's the things that reliably make your life worse, that make you feel worse, that sap your energy. Except strangely, we still crave those things. So what do you do to avoid falling into this vicious cycle of the siren song habits? Well, basically, you got to avoid them. And to do that, you need two things. Number one, you need to become aware of what your siren song habits are. And number two, you need to remove them from your environment. Here's exactly how to do that. You can do a simple writing exercise, just like a brainstorm, to find out what are your siren song habits, and simply ask yourself, what are the things that reliably make you feel worse afterwards? And think of like the mid to longer term, right? Of course, eating a bowl of cereal feels great while I'm eating it, but like half an hour later, I'm filled with regret, and the next day I still feel like crap. So that's the kind of time span I'm looking at. What makes me feel bad, not in the moment, but in the hours and days afterwards. So I just opened a Notion document here and just started writing down everything that came to mind. Don't overthink it. Just write down whatever comes to mind. Once you run out of ideas, what you can then do is sort them by priority. Basically, put the worst siren song habits at the top. Those are the ones that are a combination of extremely tempting and extremely bad for you. When you sort your list of siren song habits, that helps you understand which are the ones you most critically need to avoid. And that brings me to the second step, because how do you avoid these habits? Here's how not to do it. You don't tell yourself, well, I'm going to try to do less of this. And then when you inevitably fail, you go, well, I guess I'll try even harder. This is the willpower approach, and using willpower to change your behavior generally doesn't work. Instead, here's what works. Change your environment. Remove the temptations for the siren song habits out of your environment. So in my case, I have to make sure that I don't have cereal at home. If I have cereal at home and try to resist it or try to regulate my intake, it's not going to work. Instead, the rule is I can't have cereal at home. That way, I only have to resist it whenever I'm shopping for groceries. And even there, I try to avoid the aisle where all the granola and cereal is. Another example is social media. I know that if I started using Instagram and I started scrolling there as a habit whenever I'm bored or on the toilet or whatever, what would happen? I would start comparing myself unfavorably to other people who all seem more attractive and fitter and richer and better than me. It would also expose me to all kinds of stuff that is like controversial, that maybe makes me angry or something like that, because basically that's what the algorithm is designed to do, right? It's designed to find the buttons that it can push to get you emotionally engaged so you keep scrolling. So it would make me generally more agitated and make me feel worse. And on top of that, it would be a huge waste of time. I would have less time to just think. I would have less time to do writing, to do creative work, to do the things that actually matter to me, because I spend more and more time on Instagram. In short, it will make me miserable. So how do I deal with this? Well, I just don't use Instagram. I don't have it on my phone. I'm not logged in on my browser. There's just no convenient way for me to access Instagram, and I like it that way. I don't have to resist the temptation. So that's what I mean when I say remove this stuff out of your environment. Don't try to manage the addiction. Just get rid of it. So let's zoom out and look at the big picture. We have two sides to the idea of trust the process. On the one side, we have the cornerstone habits, the things that reliably put you in a better state and make your life better. On the other side, you have the siren song habits, the things that reliably make you feel worse and get you off track. Now, the idea here is deceptively simple. Trust the process means do more of this stuff and less of that stuff. But in order to be able to do that, you have to first become aware. You have to actually know which are your cornerstone habits and which are your siren song habits. And then you have to trust the process. You have to prove to yourself that this works. You have to prove to yourself that life lived on this side is more desirable than life lived on this side. And unfortunately, in the world we live in, most people are living on the siren song habit side. We are constantly giving in to all of our addictions and cravings. We're constantly distracting ourselves. And we're constantly pretty damn miserable. Doing all of this stuff is what makes you go, oh my God, why do I suck? Life is terrible. I feel directionless and meaningless. People are believing all kinds of doomsday scenarios about how terrible the world is, even though for the most part, we live pretty damn good lives if we just paid attention to it. So the final step to really make this work for yourself is that you create your own process and prove to yourself over time that it works. That is how you can actually trust the process. You see, this is not trust me, bro. This is not do what I do. This is develop your process and build the trust. And once you do that, once you know what your process is and you actually stick to it, it will change your life like you wouldn't believe. So in the third part of this series, we're going to talk about exactly that, exactly how to define your own process and develop it over time. Until then, let me know if you have any questions or feedback by leaving a comment below. Follow the first link in the description to join the Quit by Healing community. And if you appreciate the kind of content I create, leave a like, leave a comment, interact with this video, share it with a friend. Do the kind of stuff that will get the algorithm to show it to more people. It really makes a difference. Also, if you haven't watched part 1 yet, check it out here. And here is another video for you to watch next.